Uganda, like many parts of the world, is experiencing climate change, which has created severe fluctuations in weather patterns. Prolonged drought periods have reduced vegetation cover and exposed soils in many parts of the country that previously had heavy green vegetation. Water sources are declining as rivers drastically reduce in size and some disappear completely. Water levels get lower and some boreholes dry up. Abnormally heavy rain seasons have created flooding in some parts of the country, leading to destruction of farmland and crops. These extreme weather conditions have a negative effect on food supply. Karamoja region in northeastern Uganda is the most affected area, with large tracts of land uninhabited because of lack of water and poor soils which cannot sustain any livelihood. The majority of the Karamojong who inhabit this region are pastoralists, and they're constantly on the move in search of pasture for their cattle, which are the main source of their livelihood. Food sources are inadequate due to the erratic and insufficient rainfall, which cannot sustain pasture for the cattle and food crops, especially sorghum, which is the staple food. Death from starvation and severe malnutrition is common in Karamoja. Many Karamojong children suffer varying degrees of malnutrition.
The prevalence of severe malnutrition in Karamoja is very high because actually it should be very low, but in Karamoja I can say it is very high because where a situation where I can have like more than 40 patients, sometimes close to 60 patients admitted only due to severe malnutrition. That is a very, 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 very big number. You know, Karamoja, it is basically a dry place. The rain is scarce. It comes once in a while. When it comes, it is inadequate. It is not reliable. So the area is not productive. So there is no food production. Leads to malnutrition. Secondly, the majority of the mothers are illiterate. So ignorance is another factor which can bring really to malnutrition in this region here.
Cattle, which is the main livelihood of the Karamojong, has been depleted by drought and disease as a result of poor animal husbandry practices and the weakened state of animals resulting from poor feeding. The entire Karamoja region and the neighboring districts in Uganda, Kenya and southern Sudan have been engulfed in widespread cattle rustling over the past decades, and this is as a result of competing for resources in a region of scarcity. The situation has been made worse by the proliferation of small arms in the region. This has created a situation of death, destruction, loss of cattle and persistent insecurity, which has further contributed to the poor food security situation. The Food and Agriculture Organization in Uganda has implemented various interventions in Karamoja to try and improve food security for the Karamojong people.
One of the projects is DP2, or Drought Preparedness Number 2, and that project aims to help the people of Karamoja to ensure that they are prepared for the drought by putting into place several factors. One is training and equipping the community animal health workers so that they are able to detect diseases and then treat them where need be. But to enable them to do that, they should have the necessary veterinary kits that they can go around with, that they can use to help their communities when they are faced with animals that are suffering from certain diseases.
FAO has been at the forefront of vaccination of goats in Karamoja against the goat's plague, PPR, which has killed about 200,000 goats in the region.
We sourced funds from the Italian government, from ECHO, and we also sought from the Spanish government to help them to procure vaccinations, which we are now using. Together with government, we have now used to vaccinate almost 1.5 million goats in Karamoja.
Vaccination has also been extended with support from UNOCHA to cover cattle lung disease, CBPP. Using funding from the European Commission for Humanitarian Aid Office, ECHO, FAO has facilitated the training of farmers in Karamoja to improve animal and crop husbandry using the successfully tested farmer field schools approach. Among the pastoral communities of Moroto, the approach was modified into pastoralist farmer field schools adopted to the arid and semi-arid pastoralist environment. The project is implemented by ACTED, Cooperation and Development, Belgium Survival Fund, and the Karamoja Agro-Pastoral Development Program. Trained facilitators organize farmer groups of 30 to 40 people representing the Manyata social classes. They comprise women and elderly men who remain in the Manyata and the young women who move with kraals seasonally in search of pasture. Through these pastoral field schools, farmers are assisted to learn new ways of solving their problems created by drought and make informed decisions that strengthen their coping mechanisms.
We have been trained on how to identify the diseases of cattle. We are going to discuss with the farmers in the fields there, and we are going to observe together how the cattle look, how the skin is, the health, does the animal feed well, does it drink well. So from that we shall see that the animal is maybe healthy or it's not healthy.
The Pastoral Field School provides a platform for technical staff to interact with farmers in testing and adopting various animal management options, as well as putting in place early warning systems for food security.
The issue of developing or strengthening the early warning system so that you can have a situation where diseases are detected early before they cause more havoc, and then be reported to the relevant authorities so that immediate action can be taken to address them before they become too serious.
In the Western Belt, which experiences more rainfall and more widespread cultivation is possible, FAO has facilitated the formation of farmer field schools through Caritas and the Church of Uganda to help the farmers enhance their productivity. Farmers have to cope with the challenges of many pests which attack their crops and pasture. They also have to learn how to conserve and maximize utilization of the water to improve their crop yields.
We also had some trainings on these farmers, on compost making, soil and water conservation techniques, and environmental conservation, and many other cross-cutting issues like HIV/AIDS, gender issues, mainstreaming into agricultural activities. We also had the poverty and hygiene. Especially hygiene in Karamoja here is very striking. It's a very big issue, so we also include that into our trainings.
Through the farmer field schools, farmers have significantly improved their ability to produce food.
We also train farmers on farming as a business. We wanted them to know what farming is all about. It is not just merely about producing food to eat, but there must be food to eat and also food to sell. So we are addressing two issues of food security and also income security, particularly in that activity.
Using findings from the Spanish government, FAO has also supplied farmers in Karamoja with agriculture inputs to increase their production. Farmers have been given 5,000 hand hoes and 250 ox plows through their farm field schools to help them expand their acreage. They also received 12.5 tons of improved groundnut seed and planting material, including cassava cuttings and sweet potato vines. The farmer field school facilitators also received motorcycles and bicycles from FAO to help them reach the different field schools and supervise their activities. Part of FAO intervention in Karamoja has been building capacity for a food security early warning system appropriate to local needs through the districts.
Identify capacity gaps in district departments, train staff to strengthen their capacity in areas of need, including early warning system, stroke index, contingency planning, community action planning, targeting of vulnerable households, food security monitoring, and implementing food security projects.
Through the ECO-funded Drought Preparedness Program and the current Regional Drought Decision Program, FAO is coordinating a cluster of partners including MedAir, Den Church Aid Consortium, Karamoja Agro-Pastoral Development Program, Corporations and Development, VSF Belgium, ACTED and IRC. These are focusing on water and livestock development activities. Their efforts complement Uganda government strategy to foster development in Karamoja region.
The players, ECO is supporting about 6 or so players to take different roles. So the challenge of coordination is very important, because if they don't coordinate with the districts, then we may not get good results. The other challenge, of course, is the perennial insecurity in this region. We as government, we are doing all we can to ensure that there is security. And we are calling upon the implementers of this program. Whenever they have a problem, as a government, we shall ensure that they are well protected. Even if it means escort services, we shall give it to them. Of course, the other underlying challenge is the livelihood, the backward thinking or culture of people not wanting to touch the animals, people not wanting to sell the animals. So for you to go to the corrals and start treating animals or even branding is really a big challenge. And through sensitization, as we have said, sensitization and mobilization, and involvement of the locals, local communities and local leaders is very, very important.
In the second phase, FAO plans to facilitate activities focusing on rehabilitation of boreholes, desilting and construction of dams, training and equipping more community animal health workers, linking them to government service delivery systems. Plans are also underway to strengthen the drought early warning system and improve coordination to enhance drought preparedness within the region.